So it's the Americans, Holdren and Fonoimoana against the Brazilians, Anjinho and Fred. It is the best 2 out of 3 game championship final. First 2 games are to 21, third game if necessary to 15. It is rally scoring or a point per play. Anjinho to serve first. He spins a lollipop right at Eric Fonoimoana, who crunches it.
And that's one of the keys for Eric Fonoimoana. He says, you don't try to hit high against Fred. You hit low and tight, and to coin a phrase of yours, Chris, sizzle the pits. And they're going to be hitting low, trying to beat Fred's block every play.
Dax Holdren, at 29 years old, the #1 rated player on the AVP Tour serving. And Anjinho touches it down the line. Now let's explain the names for the Brazilians. Each Brazilian has 2, 3, or 4 names, but they only use 2 in written form. And but they also have a nickname, and Anjinho's given name, Eduardo Basil Anjinho. And the man at the net, his given name is Frederico de Souza, but he's known all over the world as Fred. And not only Fred, but Big Fred.
Big Fred, especially on the AVP Tour. Fred has been roofing all weekend long. You saw him right there just getting up to the net and getting big, and he'll be doing that all day.
Here comes Eric Fonoimoana. And Eric rolls one into the court. Now, if you follow beach volleyball, you know that Eric is a 2000 gold medalist. He won the gold by defeating Brazilians Ricardo and Zamarco, some different Brazilians, along with partner Dane Blanton. Eric is 33 years old, 9 career wins, tied with Bob Clem and Steve Obradovic, the nasty one, on the all-time list. Anjinho, right to Eric, nicknamed the Body, and the Body smokes one, and Anjinho digs it up 50 feet. 2-2, game 1. Fonoy, and he chops it down the line. Now, Big Fred is an intimidating blocker, but he's not much in the defense department.
That's one of his weakest plays, is dropping off the net and playing defense. I think his partner Anjinho would just prefer, regardless of where the set is, Fred, just stay up there and stay big.
Anjinho, the smaller of the 2 Brazilians. Fred, the taller of the 2, 6'7" and 6 feet. Anjinho gets all the serves, and sometimes he gets bad sets like that. Dax on attack. Dax Holdren, tip. Anjinho's got it. He's great on defense, and he can't quite traverse the net. So it's a point for Fonoimoana and Holdren.
And Chris, we can see the strategy already. Dax Holdren and Fonoy both dropping off the net on Anjinho. Fred setting him well off. And this time with the great defense, Anjinho just can't cuff that shot over the net. Another point for Fonoy Holdren.
Fonoy and Holdren have won 2 tournaments this year on the AVP Tour. Could make it 3 today. Fred going on 2. Fonoy has it. Fonoy on the right. Fred blocks it. Dax against Fred. Anjinho with a nice dig. Can he put it away? Not yet. Fonoimoana. Big Fred. First spiking attempt. Look out below. A little thunder. Game 1, Brazil and the United States. Fonoimoana and Holdren lead it 4-3.
USA winning medals in both 2 Olympics, in Atlanta and in Sydney. Brazil coming away empty-handed. This is a good chance for Anjinho and Fred to take a U.S. championship back to Brazil.
Anjinho with the serve. It's 4-3 here in game 1. Fonoimoana tips right over the top of Fred and down. 12-point.
And that ball went down for Fonoimoana, but that's playing into the hands of Anjinho and Fred. Anjinho loves to get Fred up there big, causing loopy little shots over the top. He's going to run him down and chase him all day long. Anjinho's got to be quick defensively.
Dax Holdren serving, and he rips the ace right down the middle.
And Dax Holdren even admitted that in Manhattan. He said, I'm a streaky server and a streaky blocker, and sometimes I get on a roll. Maybe this is his day for a serving role.
Holdren again, his team leading 6-3. Fred with a little tip shot out, and that's really not his game. Big Fred's in there for hitting duties, and suddenly it is 7-3.
And Holdren and Fonoy said, we've got to come out aggressive, and for Dax Holdren right now, he's just ripping the ball. Even if it goes to Fred, they're playing good defense. Fred's passing off the net. He doesn't have the same kind of shots as his partner, Anjinho.
So Holdren who grew up in Santa Barbara, California, rips another one. Anjinho on attack. Fred, one hand. Now Fred's mad, and he gets the touch. The ball was out of bounds, but it got Holdren going out of bounds. And now Anjinho, which means little angel in Portuguese. He has 2 career wins. He won the Washington, D.C. indoor tournament in the early 90s, the first time an international team had ever won a beach volleyball tournament with Jose Loyola. And then last year he won Huntington Beach with Scott Akatubby. Fred serving, 7-4. Fonoimoana, was that in? That was out. How many blocks does Fred need for the Brazilians to be competitive?
I think Fred needs to get at least 3 or 4 blocks, and more importantly, get big stuff blocks, the kind of blocks that get into the player's head. We're going to have a switch by the referee. They're saying the ball just clipped the side of the line, and this is a problem for Anjinho. You know those Brazilians, their blood runs hot, and they've got to control themselves. They know they're in an adverse situation. It's always them against the rest of the world, and they've got to maintain their composure. Here's Fonoy, just clipping the outside part of the line. You know, that call is going to go one way or another. The ball's hit 70, 80 miles an hour. Referees are going to miss some for Brazil. They've got to maintain their composure when the calls go against them.
So the call goes to the United States. Game 1, 8-4. Fonoimoana serving. The gold medalist working on Big Fred. And Fred with the knuckle shot over the top. Fred is 30 years old. He was born in Rio de Janeiro. He's in his 8th season, 1 career win. The 1998 FIVB Challenger title in Switzerland. What kind of a title is that? Kind of a funky one. This would be a legitimate title for Fred. Fonoimoana, and it's off Fred, out of bounds. Eric Fonoimoana, one of the most recognizable players, and he can do a little bit of everything, can't he, Mike?
And there you see, first sizzling the pits, setting up the defense, and then a couple of little roll shots. Fonoy doing it all right now.
Down 9-5.
9-5 our score. And Holdren serving Anjinho. Brazilians yet to get warmed up. They played a very tough semifinal match against Mike Lambert and Lee LeGrand. That's legal. Big Fred looking for termination, and he smokes one.
And again, you see the Brazilians jawing with referee Brent Lee. They just need to calm themselves down. The key to this play is, does the dig go outside of the antenna? Fonoy is going to give it a shot either way. He's got to bring it back to the outside of the antenna. And there you see the play continues. Brazilians complaining they've got to settle themselves down, concentrate on just volleyball.
So Big Fred set to serve. He does all the blocking for his team. He'll run up and try to take down Fonoy. 9-6. And double contact. Explain double contact or a throw.
Double contact or a throw. It's when you do not contact the ball simultaneously. It comes off one hand, then the other. It's a double hit. The throw calls traditionally in beach volleyball have always been very tight. Now it's much looser international style rules, but that one, no argument there from Dax Holdren. Point for Anjinho and Fred.
Here we go.
Both teams drawing at first referee Brent Lee. If you like controversy, you want to see some yelling and screaming at the ref, we have the perfect guy, Brent Lee.
He's perfect. He's always good for controversy.
That serve out of bounds. That will cost the Brazilians a point. Of course, the Brazilians heavily favored in 2000 when Eric Fonoimoana and James Blanton pulled the upset. In 1996, a little bit different. Karch Can't Step is the #1 American team. Playing Mike Dodd, my partner, and Mike Whitmarsh, who got the silver, so the Americans dominant. And Fonoimoana will serve Anjinho. And Anjinho has to do more of that. He's got to let Fonoy and Holdren know that he can spike the ball.
Anjinho can go up and pop, and interestingly enough, Anjinho only runs about 6'1". Everyone figured with these new rules, a shorter court, he's going to suffer the most, and conversely, he's come out, learned how to really play this game, sent his big partner Fred up there, and they're wreaking havoc.
10-8 is our score. And going down the line, Eric Fonoimoana. His idol growing up was Karch Karai, and he patterned his game after him.
And here's you're going to see the patented Fonoy cut across his body. He's going to the left, inside of Fred's block, and that's going to frustrate Fred. The harder Fonoy hits by him, the more frustrated Fred will get.
Holdren with the serve. And the husband and wife play rears its ugly head. The husband and wife play of no communication.
And Chris, that might be the first husband and wife play I've ever seen on the defensive end. Usually it's in serve receive. This time Fonoy with a great drop off the net. Dax reading the play defensively. That's just a huge break for the Brazilians.
Brazilians get a break on the hubby wife. They go right back to Fonoy. That sets tight. And shoving it through is Fonoy. Now you're not allowed to open hands. And the Brazilians get the worst of that exchange. Game one, Fonoimoana and Holdren leading 12-9. You're watching the AVP on NBC.
Okay, you've got 3 Olympic golds under your belt. Are you even thinking about 2004?
At the beginning of this year, I had no idea how Brent and I would be playing, so I would have said 100% no way I'm going for Athens. After this year, I guess it's down to 99 or 98% against 1 to 2% for.
Well, we're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Back to you guys.
I tell you, Rachel, if there was ever a player that scared the Brazilians, that they hated to play, it's Karch Karai. So that's not good news for the country of Brazil. That Karch may be thinking about coming back.
You gotta love the computer. He's come up with 2 extra % now that he might go to Brazil. It's gone from 100 no to 98.
12-10 is our score. The Brazilians starting to get a little bit of momentum. Dax has the dig. And Fred has the block, just like Mike Dodd's partner Tim Holdren used to do, getting your armpits over the net and subduing.
And that was vintage Brazil. Anjinho on the first play with a great defensive play, and then Fred just reaching over. He's only 6'7" in the book, but he's got arms down to his knees. Kenyon Seaman says he plays more like he's 7 feet.
Fonoimoana puts it away, so Eric Fonoimoana gets his 9th kill. A kill is a successful spike to the sand. And so the team of Dax Holdren, if you're wondering how Dax Holdren got his name, his mom got it from a novel by Harold Robbins, The Adventurers. There was a character named Diogenes Alexandria Exanes. So they call him Dax. Actually, it's Daxton, he told me. Daxton. And Daxton puts it away. Do you like the name Dax?
Daxton is doing what he does best, and that is he's putting pressure on with his serve. That time Anjinho unable to control the serve, ending up in a free ball and another point scoring opportunity.
You had 2 little girls, but if you have another one, a boy, you got to name him Dax Dodd.
I like
cool.
that. I
Real
like
cool.
that.
And Dax is into the net. That will cost his team a point. Dax's wife, Jen Holdren, is an active player on the AVP Tour, women's circuit, playing pretty well, getting some 7s, some 9s, earning some money, some combined income like the Dodds used to.
Nice to have the couples on the road together, make a little income. Never hurt.
So Fred will serve game 1. Kind of sorting out game 1. Fred has 2 blocks. Anjinho with a ton of digs. That set is back. And Fred backpedaling. Watch how high Fred gets up if he goes for the hit. And he crushes one. Kenyon Seaman last couple of weeks ago, a finalist, he told me, that Fred, he's unfair. He's like 6'11". He's 6'11". Mention that on the air. He's 6'11", and he shouldn't be allowed to play.
It's just illegal. He's too big. And you talk to all the kind of old school players, and it's hard to believe that Kenyon Seaman, Eric Fonoimoana, they're now old school players. They were rookies when I was coming up. But the players, the new players internationally and on the AVP, they just keep getting bigger and bigger.
The long serve is out. Fonoimoana and Holdren lead at 15-13. Well, it's a 3-day event here in Chicago. The Brazilians, they played 16 games and had a tough semifinal and a very tough quarterfinal.
Yeah, they played 2 extra matches than Fonoimoana and Holdren, and you're going to have to keep an eye on them as far as the fatigue factor. The difference is, though, the Brazilians are used to playing in the hot sun.
Fonoimoana and Holdren just 12 games, and they had to go up against Casey Jennings and Carl Hankel, who gave them everything they wanted, 21-19, 21-19. This is the 6th stop on the 2002 AVP Tour. The Nissan U.S. Championships presented by Xbox. Chris Marlowe, Mike Dodd, Rachel Perry. Game 1. It is 15-14. The United States trying to hold off Brazil. The Brazilians in the final for the first time this year. That's Anjinho in the dark hat, the smaller of the 2 Brazilians. His partner's Big Fred. And the 2 redheads, Eric Fonoimoana on attack, and Dax Holdren. And Fonoimoana will start to pound. Fonoimoana is 6'3". He's in his 11th season. Won his first tournament in Baltimore in 1994 with Scott Akatubby.
And Anjinho and Fred have been going exclusively to Fonoy in the early part of this game, and Eric has been answering every time, just ripping balls cross court and down the line.
Anjinho getting those back sets. That's a tough one. And Anjinho puts it down. Now, interestingly, Anjinho is one of his nicknames. They also call him Jack, and he was given the name Jack by former teammate Tim Hovland, who couldn't say, "Go, Anjinho, go." He couldn't say it fast enough, so he said, "I'm going to call you Jack from now on. You just be Jack." So he'd go, "Jack, Jack, Jack, Jack." He could say that really quickly, and they had a wonderful relationship, and everybody knows him as Jack now.
I think it had a little bit to do with the shining, too, and when Anjinho gets out at night, he gets that little look in his eye, kind of like Jack Nicholson.
Well, there are two versions of that story. 3 service errors for Big Fred. And now Eric Fonoimoana, who has 9 career wins. He's tied with Bob Clem. And as we mentioned, Steve Obradovic. And that serve rolled out of bounds. So service error this time around cost you a point. Playing to 21 in game 1. And Anjinho will serve it.
And for Fonoy and Holdren, they've got a risk on their serve. They got a beat jump serve. So if they miss a few, that's fine. Fred, he's just serving a float serve, and he's already missed 3. That's just mental errors.
That's trouble. Big Fred's got it. And Big Fred must have touched the net. Brantley and Fred shaking his head going, what kind of a call is that?
Well, you're not seeing any argument from Fred. And believe me, if he hadn't have touched the net, there'd be a big argument. There, his left arm just catches the top of the net. Referee on his job, and you get no argument from the Brazilians.
So Dax Holdren set to put the ball in play. And he goes with a floater, surprisingly. Knuckle up, and the little angel touches one into the corner.
17-18, we take the turn.
Anjinho doing it with the knuckle. He can pretty much do it with anything on the court. One of the most versatile players and one of the best defensive players in the world, especially at digging the hard-driven balls. He moves around great on the court and is always picking up the defense.
Anjinho has 6 digs already. And some spectacular ones.
This really moves well on the court, especially behind that big block of Fred. Anjinho loves it.
18-17. Game 1 crucial, I think, especially for the Brazilians. And Fred serves it out again. So Fred, maybe the best blocker in beach volleyball, needs to consult his serving coach.
It doesn't help to be the best blocker in the beach when you can't get your serve in and get up and do some blocking. So Fred, probably a little nervous, hasn't been in a lot of finals.
Nope. Only been in 1, technically. Pretty good smack. Chance for Dax. And Dax puts it away. Dax Holdren. The AVP's #1 ranked player with the drill.
And this is just a fantastic play by Dax Holdren. It's so difficult to block Fred on that second set. Dax gets a great soft block and puts the ball away for a huge point.
And the first game point for the Americans. This could be it here. Fonoy on the run. And Fred going on 2 every time. This is something that we've seen in women's volleyball with Elaine Young's doing a lot, but Fred is by far the best on the AVP tour.
Sure, and that is such a great play for the Brazilians because Anjinho gets every serve, and to be able to set Fred on 2, it really takes a lot of pressure off of Anjinho, giving him chances to roam and play that great defense that we saw earlier.
Second game point. And the Brazilians are going to take a timeout. So the Brazilians up against game point in game 1. Fonoimoana and Holdren up 20-18. It will be second game point for the Red Hats. And Anjinho will serve it. Fonoimoana and Holdren can win it right here. Best 2 out of 3 games. This could be it here. Dax. And Dax smacks it to the sand. That's it. That is game 1. The United States team of Eric Fonoimoana and Dax win it 21-18. You're watching the AVP on NBC. More is coming up.
Okay, there's 3 common hand signals that we do here on the AVP tour. One is when I'm blocking 1, that means I'm blocking line on the hitter and my partner is taking angle. The second is 2, which means that I'm blocking angle and my partner's taking the line defensively. And the third one is where I'm blocking ball. I'm blocking the hit and my partner's roaming around and trying to get the shot.
In Chicago, my partner Mike Dodd and his partner Tim Hovland won the first 3. This tournament started in 1983. And the first play, Fonoimoana hits it over Fred and out. So we said Fred had to have some blocks. He had 2 in game 1. Your analysis?
Well, he needs a few more,
Okay.
but he's come out strong and he's intimidating Fonoimoana on the first play of the game. So it's not always a stuff block that gets you the point.
And Anjinho misses the dig. One of the intriguing things about the Brazilians is that Fred is an outstanding blocker, and when the ball does get by, you could make a case that Anjinho is the best digger on the AVP Tour, digging the ball out of the sand.
Absolutely.
So Dax, Holdren. And Anjinho, he's not putting enough steam on that. Dax read him well, and that's why Anjinho doesn't block and Fred doesn't dig.
And Chris, this is all set up from the tough jump serve of Dax Holdren. It gets the ball, Fred's set is off the net. Anjinho can't really put a lot of mustard on it. Fonoy Holdren working their defensive play perfectly. Fonoy taking the angle, Holdren digging line.
And Holdren wraps it out of bounds. So Anjinho, part of the first international team to ever win on the AVP Tour. And of course, we mentioned that he did that at the Washington, D.C. indoor tournament way back when. Of course, the first international player to play on the AVP Tour was a Japanese player, and that was Toshi Toyota. Dax. Nice up by Anjinho. Can he spike on the left? And he spikes it just hard enough to get a point.
And that's really Fonoy just unable to control the easy cuff shot from Anjinho. And really, you have to take your hats off to Anjinho. He came over in 1993 with Jose Loyola, a great player on the international tour. And they were really the guys with the courage to come, leave Brazil, leave everything that was comfortable for them and set up shop and play for the AVP. And I asked Anjinho and Fred, are you going to go play FIVB, try to qualify for the Olympics? He said, we just love the AVP.
Here comes Fonoimoana. And Fonoy drills it through. Game 1, 21-18 to the Americans, Fonoy and Holdren. Game 2, we're tied at 3. Chris Marlowe along with Mike Dodd and Rachel Perry. Glad you're with us on NBC.
When Fonoy hit that first ball out, but you can see he's really coming to the net aggressively, and that's the way his best style of volleyball.
And Anjinho touching it down. In terms of standings, Carl Henkel and Casey Jennings were outstanding. They tied for third with LeGrand and Lambert. Todd Rogers, Sean Scott, Canyon Seaman, and Mike Whitmarsh get fifth. Hanneman and Nygaard, Karai and Doble a disappointing 7th. In 9th place, Stein Metzger and Kevin Wong, they're due for a breakup. Scott Akatubby, Dane Blanton get 13th. Good to see Dane Blanton back out on the tour. So some of the other finishers on the tour. This is our championship final, and Eric Fonoimoana is, no, he hits it off. Big Fred out of bounds.
He was roofed, but that ball just landing out of bounds. And you're going to ask Fonoy, I planned that all along, but here you see Fred getting up big and over. That ball just landing out of bounds.
So Holdren off speed. 1-2. Fonoimoana turns around, knuckles it. Big Fred, good spike. Oh, double contact on a man who used to set for the Brazilian national team, and he's laughing about it.
It's all right. It's all right.
But that's going to cost him a point.
And you're going to see no argument there from Anjinho. This ball's high, spinny, and wet.
Yeah.
And that just comes out tortured.
So 5-4. Fonoy and Holdren nursing a 1-point lead and a 1-game-to-none lead. Easy serve. And Fred with the worst play he's made this weekend. He tried to turn it. A little indecision on Fred whether he should bump that, set it, or hit it.
And Chris, this set on 2 has been working all weekend for Fred and Anjinho, and I think they're trying to force it a little too much right now. They need to do a little pass, set, and hit, and right now Fred's going off one leg, trying to slop the ball around, and he's really a power player. If it's an easy serve, set him on 2. Otherwise, try to get in a little bit of a rhythm. Right now, Brazil completely out of their rhythm.
The Americans against the Brazilians. The rivalry continues. That was a great hit by Anjinho, but he blocked it. Look out below as Fred, also known as Frederico de Souza, gets the kill.
Frederico getting big at the net, but Dax Holdren is just playing great defense. That's just unbelievable control. Fonoy unable to keep it on their side. Dax digs in for another, unable to control Fred's heat.
6-5 our score. Fred, easy serve. Off speed, Anjinho's there to tie it up at 6. And Anjinho's having it down the line, and you can feel the momentum changing a little bit here. The Brazilians very methodical, but that's just their game.
And that's a big key for Anjinho right there. He's had 4 or 5 great digs, but he's been unable to convert. Conversion means putting the ball away after you dig it for the point. This time Anjinho, a little cuff down the line. That's going to get his confidence going.
6-6 game 2. Back on Fonoimoana. And Fonoy chopping inside. You know, Fonoy has a charitable foundation that he started called the Digs for Kids, and it's really a great foundation. Brings kids down to the beach, teaches them how to play volleyball, and he's really doing a lot to contribute to the sport of volleyball.
Taking that gold medal and working with it every way he can with the community, and hats off to Eric.
Anjinho with the touch shot. Nicely done. A reminder coming up next on NBC, it's the full match play final of the prestigious and grueling U.S. Amateur Championship. Who will earn the right to walk in the footsteps of past champions Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, and of course Tiger Woods. That's the championship match, the 102nd U.S. Amateur Championship, next on NBC. That's always a great event.
102 years of playing a tournament. In terms of beach volleyball, you can't even fathom that. We've been around for maybe 15 playing professionally, and here the golf's at 102.
Game 2 has had 6 ties and 3 lead changes. We're back to the action. Fonoimoana rejected by Fred.
And Chris, that time, Fonoy going to the well one time too many. He's been cutting that shot down the line on Fred, just hitting it inside of his block. This time Fred takes that extra step, gets that right hand over, and seals the line.
The Brazilians back on top by 1, 8-7. See where Fonoy goes. Trying to get it over Fred, and Fred can't get there. Brazil has such a wealth of outstanding players in its country. Where would you rate Fred among the pantheon of all the Brazilians that are playing all over the world?
Well, you know, amazingly enough, last year in Brazil during our winter, their summer, they have their own version of the King of the Beach. You've got Loyola, Emmanuel, Zamarco, Ricardo, the great beach players. Who won it? Fred. He was the King of the Beach in Brazil last year.
So good case. Could be made for Big Fred. That's a pretty good set there. Anjinho right to Dax. Dax guessed right. Look out. They suck at it, and I think Fred netted it.
And that's a break for Fonoimoana and Holdren. During that rally, Eric oversetting. Fred just unable to control. Gets his hand caught in the net.
So another lead change.
Going to get a good shot of it right there. Fred just forearm on top of the net. Big break for Fonoimoana Holdren.
Holdren. Team leading 9-8. And Fred is stuck. And Fonoy glaring at Brant Lee for some reason. The official shaking his head.
And he's wanting another throw call on Anjinho. That was a high spinning pass, but that one was controlled well by Anjinho. Shouldn't have been a throw, but Fonoy, any chance you get as a player, you got a chance to jab that ref and try to get in his head. Maybe you'll get a call later on in the match.
Dax Holdren serve into the net. And that makes it 10-9. We have 125 teams start out in this tournament, men's and women's. And we are down to 2 in the men's division. It's a $150,000 event. As we mentioned, Randy Stoklos, the 5-time winner, 4 with St. John Smith, 1 with Brian Lewis, who is still on the injured list. 10-9. You know, a lot of people would ask, why are the Brazilians serving Fonoimoana all the time when he's such a powerful hitter?
I think the reason is Dax Holdren is a lefty, and he's so hard to read. He's got one of those funky approaches. He goes up, he hangs for a long time, and really sees the block and the defense well. So go to Fonoy, because Holdren just frustrates the you-know-what out of all blockers. Talking to Whitmarsh, he hates the block against Dax Holdren.
Some of the great lefties, of course, Kirk Kilgore, who recently passed away, Fred Sturm, Steve Obradovich. Here comes Fonoy, spinning it up. And Big Fred touching it over.
And there you see Dax Holdren just slapping his side. Another ball control error.
Game 2, Fonoy and Holdren lead 11-10. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. You're watching the AVP on NBC.
Okay, so you're on the tour as well. You play volleyball on the tour, but you're not the only couple on the tour. Why are so many volleyball players going out with each other? Is it the breeding stock? Because you guys are all, you know, really well built.
It's the lifestyle. We have a wonderful lifestyle. We're at the beach every day, and we have free time, and we get to spend a lot of time with each other.
Well, that's good. That's good for the relationship.
It is.
How do you prioritize your life? Because I know you're a pro volleyball player.
Right.
You also do commercials. You do ads for Nike. You're a mother of 2.
Right. How do I balance it? You know, it's all about my husband first and family. We spend a lot of time with our family. We have a lot of help from our family. So we get everything done. I don't know. It's just a juggling act, I guess.
Cool. Well, good luck to your husband out there. And Chris and Mike, back to you.
Thanks.
All right, Rachel, 2 kids for Dax and Jen, Ellis and
Kobe.
I assume that's after Kobe Bryant and not after Kobe Japan. And Dax. Yes, Dax is sexy, folks. Fonoy's got the body, but I guess Dax has the mind. Is having a mind sexy?
I guess so.
Okay.
I always thought so.
Okay.
I never had the body.
You weren't very sexy then.
But I tell
apparently.
you, Dax has the skills, and that's what he's been demonstrating more than anything in this final. He's serving, he's blocking, and he's playing great defense, doing everything you have to do.
Game 1 went to the United States team of Holdren and Fonoimoana 21-18. Game 2 has been much closer, back and forth, and now Fonoimoana and Holdren getting a little momentum with that block there.
And Chris, Dax Holdren is so mild-mannered. It was almost his Achilles heel. He was too mellow playing. Now he's with a fiery Fonoimoana, the body, and you see more animation out of Dax, and that's made him a better player.
Fred with a nice set, and Anjinho cuts the ball inside. Of course, Dax Holdren played for a long, long time with his best friend Todd Rogers. 12 years they played together. That's an all-time record. And I asked Dax about it in the media tent earlier, how tough a phone call was that? He said, very, very difficult to drop my pal, but I thought I would have better success with Eric, and they have. 14-12, Brazilians trying to hang on here. Haven't really got the feeling that the Brazilians think they can win, and now Fred is going to question first referee Brent Lee and say that was a throw or a chuck.
Well, from my eyes up here, I thought that set was fine. It didn't go exactly where Fonoy wanted it to. The set was well off the net, but it wasn't mishandled. It wasn't a double hit. And this is the Brazilians getting too involved in everything except the volleyball. That's a bad set. It's off the net, but it's not a mishandled ball. Concentrate on your side out. Don't just jaw at the ref for no good reason.
Holdren will serve, 15-12. And a beautiful block by the body. Fonoy hitting, blocking, digging, and intimidating the gold medalist. Going to work, Mike Dodd.
Eric Fonoimoana, one of the most animated players out there on the tour. He really knows how to bring it in the big tournaments. We saw him win 2 weeks ago in Manhattan, and he's continuing not only his great play, but inspiration. His body language, he fires up his partner so much. He does all those little things. His reactions really build momentum for his team, and he's just one of those emotional players that really brings it on the court.
Brazilians in trouble now, and they really have to shore up their game. What advice would you give Team Brazil right now?
Well, they have to concentrate on their game. Fred has to get big at the net. Anjinho has to convert when he has his defensive opportunities, and they just need to settle down. They're only down 3 points, a couple blocks, a couple good side outs for points. They're right back in this match.
They have been serving Fonoimoana relentlessly, and it's not paying off. Anjinho with a dig, big play here. Anjinho. Fonoy digs back, the gold medalist. And he hits it off the block, out of bounds. Point, Fonoimoana and Holdren.
And golf, they say sometimes your pars are some of your best scores. And in beach volleyball, if you make a great defensive play that keeps the other team from scoring, that can sometimes be the most emotionally uplifting play. And for Fonoy, he made the huge defensive play to save the point for his team.
Fonoimoana serving at 17-13. Fred going on 2, and he puts it away. Eric Fonoimoana, interestingly, has received 27 of the last 29 serves. Mike, I think it's too much. I would try Holdren a little. They're not having that much success with it.
Most definitely, and they not only have been 27 serves, but 27 easy serves for Eric to control and give Dax a perfect pass.
Just another lollipop serve. You know what happens if you serve too many lollipops, Mike?
What's that?
You get licked. You get licked, and that's what's happening right now. To the Brazilians, it's 18-14. They need to toughen it up. Not much wind here in the Windy City, so it's a little bit tougher to serve. And now Dax just 3 points away from wrapping it up. Off the net is Holdren, and he puts it away. Dax Holdren flopping into the sand.
And Chris, what makes a great defensive play work? Conversion, getting up after making the play and just delivering this ball right down the middle. And that's what Holdren and Fonoy have been consistently doing this match, converting on their defensive opportunities, scoring points every chance they get.
So Holdren and Fonoimoana closing in on their 3rd win this season. And nobody out, and Anjinho drills it. So it's 19-15. Once again, point per play. Much tougher to rally in this scoring format than it was in the old side-out scoring of yesteryear.
Yeah, the pressure really on Brazil right now. Fred basically has to go back and either try to serve or block for 2 or 3 straight points. Otherwise, Holdren and Fonoimoana can just side themselves out, scoring points on side-outs, and finish off this game and the match.
Big Fred jump serve, and he rips it out of bounds. And that is going to be trouble. Let's take a look at today's stat of the match, sponsored by Burger King. Fonoimoana getting some numbers, getting jiggy with those numbers.
19 big kills, 2 blocks, 9 digs. That's just an all-around game. And Fonoy doing it on the court. He and Dax are so universal in their game. They do everything well, much like Karai and Steffens did in the old days.
Timeout on the sand. Fonoy and Holdren closing in. Don't forget, more volleyball coming up. The women are on deck. Stay with us. Championship point. Chris Marlowe, Mike Dodd, Rachel Perry, men's final. A dominating performance for Eric Fonoimoana and Dax Holdren. This could be it. No, as Big Fred puts it away. So that was the first championship point, 20-16. There will be 4 more here now.
And this is the big advantage that Fonoimoana and Holdren have now. They're going to have 4 opportunities to receive serve to win the match.
Who will put the final ball down for the United States? Dax Holdren will get the chance. Daxton for the win, and he's got it. I bet he was going to go hug his wife, but he's going to hug a couple of his buddies.
Go to the buddies.
Go to the buddies first.
And Chris, after so many serves to Fonoy, the Brazilians finally switch it up, but you don't go to Dax Holdren at that time in the match. He puts it away. Another huge open win. U.S. champions, Fonoimoana and Holdren.
So 2 huge wins in the span of 2 weeks. Eric Fonoimoana and Dax Holdren, they win their 3rd tournament together this year, and they have established themselves with 1 tournament to play, the Paul Mitchell Shootout, as the kings of the beach.
Eric and Dax, congratulations once again. So good to see you guys here. You know, I was just talking to Karch about this. There's so much depth of talent and skill within the men's teams on the AVP, but now, you know, a couple weeks ago with your win in Manhattan Beach, now you won here. This is your 3rd win this year. It seems that there is a clearly defined #1 men's team on the AVP. How did you guys get that?
You know what it is? It's a lot of dedication to the sport. Dax actually spent a lot of time in the off-season coming down from Santa Barbara. It's like a 2-hour drive to LA and then back up to Santa Barbara. So that's a lot of dedication by Dax, and I really appreciate it. It has paid off big. And thanks to Chicago, the fans are great here. We love it here. And it's just nice to be on the victory stand, and I'll cherish it as long as I can take it.
You guys had to face the same kind of problem here. Mike Whitmarsh back in Manhattan Beach, he's like, what, 6'7", 6'8", you know, so is Fred. How do you guys neutralize that height at the net so well?
Well, you notice we didn't serve Fred too many balls because he can absolutely bring it. But we just seem to move the ball around. We control the ball and are side out well enough and scored just enough points to squeak by.
Well, congratulations, guys. All right, back to you, Chris and Mike.
Dax and Fonoy, the champs, here in Chicago. When we return to the Windy City, we'll have coverage of yesterday's exciting women's final. It's a doozy. But first, we'll catch up on the day's sports news with Andrea Joyce in the Sun America Sports Desk in New York. After these messages, you're watching the AVP on NBC.